The ultimate basket of buttery, soft, tender rolls, perfect for any holiday table. But here's the unexpected treat. A few hours later, when the house is quiet and the kitchen lights are low, these rolls somehow taste even better. Maybe it's the stillness after a busy day, or maybe it's that leftover slice of ham or turkey tucked inside. But that quiet, late-night snack might just become your favorite holiday moment. These rolls are everything you want them to be: rich, pillowy, and just a little bit irresistible. And the best part? They're fast, easy, and forgiving from start to finish. They might steal the spotlight from your holiday meal, but honestly, is that such a bad thing? This recipe calls for 2 leavening agents, yeast and baking soda. It also calls for buttermilk, and lots of it. I prefer to use fresh buttermilk, however I keep this powdered buttermilk in my pantry as a backup. Can I tell the difference between rolls made with fresh buttermilk and rolls made with powdered buttermilk? Yes, but it's very minor. The flavor is the same for both, but I think the texture is slightly better when I use fresh buttermilk. Did you know? Fresh buttermilk can be frozen. Yep, it can be frozen. You just need to give it enough time to thaw. And remember, one of the essential tricks that make this 1-hour buttermilk roll recipe work is that all of the ingredients are either room temperature or slightly warm when mixed together. So no adding slightly thawed or even cold buttermilk when making these rolls. One more thing about powdered buttermilk. Its shelf life is 9 to 12 months if stored in a cool, dry place and the package is still unopened. Once it's been opened, it should be refrigerated and is generally good for a couple of months. For longer storage, it can also be frozen. It's one of those handy pantry staples that really earns its spot on the shelf. And when you need it, you'll pat yourself on the back for being so prepared. Okay, I hear you. Can you use milk instead of buttermilk in this recipe? That's the big question, isn't it? We'll find out soon enough. But first, let's get a batch of these holiday heroes in the oven. For those of you who want to see the dough making process, let's go. Ingredients are listed in the description below. Okay, back to the question. Can you use milk instead of buttermilk in this recipe? Let's find out. I've read that it's generally not a good idea to replace buttermilk with milk, and here's why. Whole milk is higher in fat, thinner, and less acidic than buttermilk. Buttermilk is thicker and more acidic than whole milk, mainly lactic and citric acid, which gives it a tangier flavor, and buttermilk has less lactose than whole milk. Now the acid in buttermilk reacts with the baking soda to create a lighter texture. Generally, buttermilk and milk are not interchangeable in baking, but sometimes adjusting the leavening can allow for substituting milk for buttermilk. I'm guessing that in this recipe, which calls for yeast and baking soda, there might be subtle differences in flavor and texture between the buttermilk version and the milk version. But let's give it a try and find out firsthand if milk will work in this recipe. Okay, along with making half a batch of rolls with buttermilk and the other half with milk, you'll notice a few appearance differences between this pan and the first one. The first batch I used an all egg yolk wash, and wow, that really boosted the color. The second pan, which you'll see in just a few minutes, got a whole egg wash, and I let them brown just a bit too much. Neither one affects the flavor, but both are a good reminder of how much the little details matter. Well, they look about the same. I did have to add a little bit more flour, about 1/4 of a cup, to the rolls with the whole milk. And I think that was just because whole milk is a little thinner than buttermilk. But to get a consistency of dough that I can shape into a nice roll, I had to add about 1/4 cup more flour. That's it. That's the only difference. Whole milk and buttermilk. I don't know. I've not done this experiment before, so my guess is probably as good as your guess. We'll see how these compare. So we'll be back here and do a taste test and see if we can tell the difference. The results are in, and for me, the buttermilk batch reigns supreme. The difference in flavor and texture was significant. The rolls made with milk were good, but a bit drier and less tender, almost crumbly. John said he couldn't taste much of a difference, but I sure could. For me, buttermilk is essential. It adds the moisture, the richness, and that something special the milk version just can't match. When it comes to these rolls, buttermilk, fresh or powdered, is where the magic happens. This has a more buttery flavor, super soft.
There's not much difference to me.
And see, for me, it's really considerable. Actually, I like the flavor of it better too.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't turn either one down, but I think there's a significant difference.